What's going on, everybody? Man, it has been a wild ride these past couple of months. I know I have been really been going through the ringer. It's been a huge journey. I will say though, prior to the past couple of months, I've had a lot of single stocks, especially SPAC stocks, especially in the EV sector. But man, I can tell you, I had bought some stocks at $30. It went down to 20. As soon as it finally went back to 30. I held on to it. It went to 40. Again, it dropped back to 20. So again, right after that, it went back to 30 and I sold. I said, wow, that was a lot. So then I actually put a decent percentage of my finances into mutual funds. And I can tell you right now, thank goodness, because I'm actually in the green. So, I'm not completely down, but it has been a journey that I've had to go through. And so always keep that in mind when you are buying these stocks. Single stocks is high risk, high reward, right? I'm not a financial advisor, but just keep in mind that there are other options, right? You've got puts and you've got calls. So, what I wanted to show you real quick is what's called Morning Brew, right? Now, with Morning Brew, it is something that I would highly recommend. All you have to do is literally subscribe, okay? I'm not affiliated by them at all, but I did do it. And all you have to do is put your email in, and then every single morning, I'm not even joking, every single morning, you get the latest information with what is going on in the market, especially when it comes to any of these companies, right? Companies that you might be invested in, companies that you might think about investing in. And so always keep that in mind. If there's some type of news, another outlet that you can use to your advantage, I would look into it. So, Morning Brew, for example, it'll show you with the NASDAQ, it'll give you a percentage, right? And so you've got the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, right? The 10-year, even Bitcoin, right? So crypto is always huge. It is new to this market. And if you look at the overall sector itself, right? Its industry, it's over a trillion, right? And so clearly there's a lot of cash or money that's been invested in that in the past few years. So it's really good, and I really do appreciate something like that. So I'm not going to go through the entire website, but I just wanted to show you, for example. So let's look at Sony. And so it says Sony goes bungee jumping. So January was a full out sprint for video game industry mergers, which blows my mind because back in the day when I was playing video games, I had no idea that it would grow into this level. So the latest, Sony announces plans to buy Bungie. Now, the studio responsible for the creation of both Halo and Destiny for $3.6 billion. Now, if you've been watching any TV at all, you've probably seen some Halo commercials, which some of them are actually not that bad. Now, the deal is not notable for Bungie's top class IP offerings, but also for being another thrilling entry into the strange saga of the studio. So check this out. I thought this was pretty interesting and good information. Again, something that you can't find just anywhere. So Bungie was first acquired by Microsoft in 2000, becoming a household name and then helping put Xbox on the map with Halo. After splitting from Microsoft in 2007, Bungie eventually entered a 10-year publishing deal with Activision Blizzard, which left in 2019. Now, Microsoft announced plans to buy Activision Blizzard earlier in January for a whopping $68.7 billion. What a roller coaster ride. So, not to be forgotten, last month's gaming acquisition, Take-Two Interactive agreed to purchase Farmville, creator of Zynga for 12.7 billion. Where's Nintendo in all of this? But the whole point is, guys, just wanted to point this out that it is a really good source. You always want more than one outlet. That way you can compare, hear what the information is, put it together, and then again, so you can make these decisions, right? So you want to know what's going on in the world. And it continues and it continues. And it, again, I've been able to use it for my own information and just general broad information. So it might not be that specific, but it could be talking about a stock that affects you in some way or somehow. Okay, so the other thing too, guys, I wanted to point out is going to be the Nasdaq. Before we talk about the Feds, I wanted to point out, or not only the Feds and what's going on, but also the market itself. Why is it green? Why it's red? Just keep that in mind. But I just wanted to also point out that clearly with the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones, not everybody understands what that is all about, right? what does that mean when you hear that? So with the Dow Jones, you've got 30 of the best companies, right? 30 companies in its industry. These are the leaders. These are the large cap blue chip stocks, okay? But it's the same thing with the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq is 3,000 companies versus the Dow Jones, which is 30. So when you're looking at the Nasdaq, it goes from Apple, Microsoft, okay, Amazon, Tesla, right? Companies that even if you don't follow stocks, again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just trying to explain to you so you can have a better understanding when you're making your decisions. You've got to understand which ones you're looking at and why it's being affected, right? So it goes from the banks. So you got JP Morgan, Bank of America, all the way to your clothing attire, to oil and gas. So it's very broad, but again, it is the leaders in these companies. So always keep that in mind when you're looking at that. I mean, it's got Home Depot, okay, it's got Toyota, Walt Disney, and so it's a huge company, right? Just an overall huge, all the companies that are again the leading industry. So then you look at the Nasdaq. So I meant on the Dow Jones. So who's on the Dow Jones? You've got all the way from Caterpillar, Boeing Company, again Home Depot. So, some of the similar ones, but it's less, right? There's only 30. And so you've got Intel, Walgreens, Cisco, Dow, Coca-Cola, right? Merrick and Co, Chevron. I mean, the list goes on. And so you've got Procter and Gamble as well. So, guys, these are all name brands that you use all the time, but I just wanted to point that out because not everybody knows that. And when you're making these decisions, you need to understand that. Okay, so what's been going on in the market? So clearly, you got to look at the 52-week highs and lows, and that's what I wanted to point out today. You've got 53 companies with 52-week highs. And so some of those companies are mainly, at least for today, and it changes daily, is going to be oil and gas. So you've got ConocoPhillips, you've got companies, again, overall is oil and gas. I see Williams Company, they're another oil and gas company. So just keep that in mind. You've got DT Midstream, that's going to be another company. And then you've got the 52-week low, and that's 42 companies, guys. Now, I did see on this list that there are some companies that are also oil and gas, but just keep in mind that, like, for example, Neighbors, but just keep in mind that as constantly as we have the 52-week highs, we also have 52-week lows. And we know that most of those companies that just merged with the SPACs, they're typically 40 to 50 to 60%, and that's because most uh, realtor or just me and you are the ones that are buying those companies up, and so there's been a quick buy and a quick sell, unfortunately. Then the other thing is going to be the earnings report. And so, for example, UPS, they had an estimate of $3.11 and they actually hit 3.59. So that's a growth of 35%. That was a surprise of 15.4%. And on a side note, I had no idea that UPS stood for United Parcel Service. But you've got UPS, you've got ExxonMobil. They went from 1.96 to actually 2.05. So that's a growth of 6,733%. I mean, and so you've got EPD, so Sirius, quite a few companies with their earnings is in the green. Not all, but quite a few. And then for tomorrow, who is it going to be? That's the question, right? So you've got Nokia, you got Merrick and Co. Remember, we saw some of those that were on the large cap when it came to the Dow Jones as well as the Nasdaq. So you got ConocoPhillips, Honeywell, and so all these companies should be posting their earnings. And so, for example, you've got Honeywell. Their expected revenue growth is negative 1.7%. So the question is it going to beat it? Is it going to meet it? You've got ConocoPhillips, 127.6% expected growth. And so things are looking good. And so that can have a new uptick for what we're looking for. And that's what we want. And so, again, guys, I really do appreciate you listening. I'm going to continue to just slowly start bringing out these videos, but hopefully that will help you out. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you.